Welcome to CVR English News. This is Shekina and you're watching World News 360. Let's get into the latest world news highlights. In yet another precise attack, the Israeli Defense Forces eliminated 2 more Hezbollah commanders, and the IDF said that it killed 2 more Hezbollah terrorists who were involved in major attacks on Israeli civilians. The 2 terrorists killed were identified by the IDF as Ahmad Mustafa Al-Haz Ali and MD Ali Hamdan. Ahmad Mustafa Al-Haz Ali, commander of the whole front, was responsible for hundreds of missiles and anti-air tank missile attacks in Kiryat Shmona. MD Ali Hamdan, commander of Hezbollah's anti-tank unit in the Mais El Jabal area, orchestrated extensive anti-tank missile attacks in Israel. Notably, Israel has successfully struck down over 15 top commanders across Hezbollah, Hamas and Houthi forces. Nasrallah, Haniya, Safiuddin, Deif and others have been successfully sent to the gates of hell by an angered IDF. Earlier, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu warned Hamas chief Sinwar, saying Nasrallah won't come to Sinwar's rescue. The intensification of ground and aerial operations came after Iran fired 180 ballistic missiles at Israel to avenge the killing of Nasrallah. The IDF and Iranian proxies have been at war since the outbreak of Israel-Hamas conflict on October 7, 2023. President Draupadi Murmu embarked on a week-long 3-nation visit to Algeria, Mauritania and Malawi on October 13. The visit comes a year after the African Union was made a permanent member of the G20 during the India's presidency. During her visit, President Murmu will hold bilateral meetings and interact with the Indian diaspora. This will be the first ever visit by the President of India to the three African nations. A video released on October 12 showed what the Israeli army said were operations in Gaza and strikes in Lebanon. Media was not able to independently verify the location or the date when the videos were filmed. Hezbollah is preparing for a long war of attrition in southern Lebanon after Israel wiped out its top leadership with a new military command directing rocket fire and the ground conflict, two sources familiar with its operation said. Israeli military strikes on Gaza on Saturday killed at least 29 Palestinians, medics said, and forces kept pushing deeper into the Jabalia area, where international relief agencies say thousands of people are trapped. Residents said Israeli forces continued to pound Jabalia in the north of the enclave, the largest of its historic refugee camps, from the air and the ground. Ratan Tata, an iconic Indian industrialist, passed away, leaving a profound impact on India and the world. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu expressed heartfelt condolences, calling Tata a proud son of India. Netanyahu acknowledged Tata's role as a champion of India-Israel friendship, emphasizing his contributions. In a message addressed to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Netanyahu conveyed his sympathy, sorrow over Tata's passing. He urged Prime Minister Modi to pass on his condolences to Tata's family, highlighting the personal bond he felt with the industrialist. Many in Israel, alongside Netanyahu, mourn the loss of Ratan Tata, recognizing his impact globally. 86-year-old Ratan Tata died at a Mumbai hospital late on October 9, and the final rites of Ratan Tata were performed with full state honors at a central Mumbai crematorium on October 10.
सर पीछे हो जाइए थोड़ा सा पीछे हो जाइए कोई नहीं जाएगा आपको
Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bakir Kalibov said that this country will always support Lebanon with all its strength. Iran will always support with all its strength the decisions made by the Lebanese government, people and the Islamic resistance, he said at a press conference on Saturday following his meeting in Beirut with his Lebanese counterpart Nabi Berri. Shinua News Agency reported that he added that Iran is ready to offer support for Lebanese displaced and war-affected people under the supervision of the government and to launch a humanitarian air bridge to facilitate this support.
که به مقصد بیروت اومدم از تهران اومدم به بیروت که سلام گرم ملت ایران رو و دولت ایران رو مجلس ایران رو و به ویژه پیام رهبر معظم انقلاب رو به مردم لبنان برسونم که مطمئن باشید جمهوری اسلامی ایران در این شرایط سخت کنار ملت لبنان، دولت لبنان و مقاومت در همه صحنه‌ها خواهد و جمهوری اسلامی ایران از تصمیمات دولت لبنان، ملت لبنان و مقاومت در این زمان در زمینه‌های مختلف حتما حمایت خواهد کرد. من در سفر
Residents and visitors in Japan's Hiroshima welcomed the Nobel Committee's decision to award this year's Peace Prize to Nihon Hidankyo, a grassroots movement of Hiroshima and Nagasaki survivors pushing for a nuclear weapons ban. The committee noted on Friday that next year will mark 80 years since 2 American atomic bombs killed an estimated 214,000 inhabitants of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, prompting Japan's surrender and the end of World War II.
お母さんも亡くなったんじゃがね、お母さん、おばさん、おじいさん、おばあさん、皆被爆になってやっと報われたような感じがしますよね。
I think it's really important at the moment, considering what's going on over in the Middle East, and I wish people would sort of take a bit more notice of what learned from the past to come towards the present, but I don't think that's, people are not going to take notice. It seems to be human nature. They don't take notice of what's happened in the past, what's going to affect in the future. I think it's really wonderful though that they've actually received a Peace Prize.
Amy Rosendahl, co-founder of Colors for Kamala, presents the Polish line she created to support Democratic candidate Kamala Harris' campaign ahead of the US election on November 5. One of the lines, neutralizing the name-calling, is based on the insult used by Republican candidate Donald Trump. It's about taking the sting out of the names and standing in solidarity with Vice President Harris as she's out front taking the hits for us, says Rosendahl.
お母さんも亡くなったんじゃがね、お母さん、おばさん、おじいさん、おばあさん、皆被爆になってやっと報われたような感じがしますよね。
I think it's really important at the moment, considering what's going on over in the Middle East, and I wish people would sort of take a bit more notice of what learned from the past to come towards the present, but I don't think that's, people are not going to take notice. It seems to be human nature. They don't take notice of what's happened in the past, what's going to affect in the future. I think it's really wonderful though that they've actually received a Peace Prize.
Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic presidential nominee, released a letter from a doctor on Saturday that pronounced her good health and fit for high office in an effort to draw a contrast with her counterpart Donald Trump. In a memo distributed by the White House, the Vice President physician Joshua Simmons said Harris' most recent physical exam in April was unremarkable, that she maintains an active lifestyle and very healthy diet despite a busy schedule, suffers from seasonal allergies and sporadic hives, does not use tobacco and drinks alcohol only in moderation.
President Kamala Harris released a letter from her doctor on Saturday, pronouncing her to be in good health and fit for the Oval Office. According to a Harris aide, the move was made to draw attention to Republican nominee Donald Trump's refusal to release his medical report.
And it's just a further example of his lack of transparency.
Harris spoke to reporters before boarding a plane to North Carolina.
And it is clear to me that he and his team do not want the American people to really see what it is that he is doing and whether or not he actually is fit to do the job of being President of the United States.
In a memo distributed by the White House, Harris's doctor said her last physical exam in April was unremarkable and that she maintains an active lifestyle and a healthy diet. It noted she suffers from seasonal allergies and sporadic hives which have been well managed with medications and antihistamine treatment. In a statement, Trump's campaign communications director said that Trump has voluntarily released updates from his personal physician, as well as detailed reports from the medical doctor who treated him after the first assassination attempt. In 2018, when Trump was in office, a White House doctor said he was in overall excellent health, but needed to lose weight and start a daily exercise routine. The Harris campaign is eager to highlight the former president's age of 78, since he became the oldest candidate after 81-year-old President Joe Biden stepped aside from the race. The campaign hopes contrasting Harris's comparative youth and mental acuity with Trump's advanced age and tendency to meander.
Boeing will cut 17,000 jobs, 10% of its global workforce, delay first deliveries of its 777X jet by an year, and record $5 billion in losses in the third quarter as the US plane maker continues to spiral during a month-long strike. And CEO Kelly Ortberg said in a message to employees that the significant downsizing is necessary to align with our financial reality after an ongoing strike by 33,000 US West Coast workers halted production of its 737 MAX, 767 and 777 jets.
Jobs, or 10% of its global workforce, and record $5 billion in losses in the third quarter, as the U.S. plane maker continues to spiral during a month-long strike. In a message to employees, Boeing CEO Kelly Ortberg said downsizing was necessary to align with its financial reality.
Strike! Strike! Strike!
It comes after production of the 737 MAX, 767, and 777 jets halted due to the ongoing strike by 33,000 U.S. West Coast workers. Reaching a deal to end the work stoppage is critical for Boeing. On Wednesday, it filed an unfair labor practice charge with the National Labor Relations Board, accusing the Machinists Union of failing to bargain in good faith. The International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, which represents striking workers, described Boeing's claims as groundless. Ratings agency S&P estimated the strike is costing Boeing $1 billion a month, and it risks losing its prized investment-grade credit rating. Boeing also notified customers that it expects first delivery of its 777X to be in 2026 due to challenges in development, the flight test pause, and the work stoppage. Even before the strike began on September 13th, the company was burning cash as it struggled to recover from a January mid-air panel blowout on a new plane that exposed weak safety protocols and spurred U.S. regulators to curb its production. On Friday, Boeing faced a Texas court hearing with a judge who will decide whether to accept the plane maker's offer to plead guilty to fraud under a deal with the Justice Department. Boeing has agreed to pay up to a $487.2 million fine, spend at least $455.
On Saturday, hundreds of Israeli protesters gathered in central Tel Aviv, blocking one of the main boulevards. This demonstration is part of a weekly effort to call off the deal to secure the release of the remaining hostages held in Gaza. The protest highlights ongoing tensions and the urgency felt by many families affected by the situation.
This Yom Kippur and really looked deep in and admitted to himself, and I hope that this admit would go out to the press, that there were times that there was a deal on the table and he could have took it and he could have released the hostages, and we know that also now there is a deal on the table. It could be possible, and the only thing that is making it not happen is Netanyahu's personal interest and his beliefs.
Three hospitals in northern Gaza are struggling with waves of wounded flowing in as Israeli forces battle with Hamas fighters in the Jabalia refugee camp and other northern towns. Fuel and supplies are both in short supply, and the destruction of a children's hospital has added pressure.
قسم الاستقبال والطوارئ في مستشفى العودة أعداد مهولة جدا من المصابين بشكل يومي. نقوم بإجراء عشرات العمليات الجراحية، تعمل طواقم العمليات لأكثر من 16 ساعة يوميا لإنقاذ حياة المواطنين في شمال قطاع غزة. نحن في مستشفى العودة نعاني بشكل حقيقي من نقص في الأدوية والمستلزمات الطبية، ونقص حاد بل صفر من المخزون من الوقود. نعمل في ظل ظروف صعبة جدا ومعقدة جدا. عشان الصنور يرضى.
مستشفى النصر للأطفال وهو المستشفى الأكبر لتقديم خدمة الأطفال مدمر بالكامل ولا يمكن إعادة ترميمه حسب الحجم الدمار.
Animal shelters in Havana are experiencing a notable rise in the number of abandoned cats and dogs, largely attributed to the ongoing economic crisis and the exodus of many Cubans from the island. As families face increasing hardships, more pets are being left behind, staining shelter resources and highlighting the challenges both animals and communities are facing during this difficult time.
Y al final la dejé aquí porque ya está viejita, tiene más de 8 años. Y al principio muchas personas nos llaman por teléfono para que le acojamos sus mascotas, ya que de repente van a emigrar. De repente puede ser con una semana de antelación, con 2 días de antelación, con 1 día de antelación, porque muchas veces tenían planificado también quién les iba a cuidar la mascota o quién se las iba a quedar definitivamente. Mira, ¿cuál es la dominado más? Uy, ya no va a tener que estar más solito.
On Saturday, the extent of the devastation in Englewood, Florida became apparent as communities began to recover from Hurricane Milton. Many beachfront properties were left in ruins with sand blown in from the shoreline and dirt littering the roads. Efforts to clear the area are underway, but the scene remains challenging as residents start to assess the damage and begin the cleanup process. Well, these are the latest updates from escalating tensions in the Middle East and US elections. Let's keep watching and stay tuned to CVR English News.